things, this is what we're supposed to do. We should want to be a part of this body of thought. We send our kids to these schools every day. This is what, and I'm not talking about us. This is what a Negro, black, or color would do. And somebody that's complaining. They'll go to schools. They'll go to all these places. We'll send our children, our youth, our nieces, our nephews to all these schools. Come back home and won't teach nothing, but just complain and complain. And then you have a brother that's educated, that's qualified, that's teaching from love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, not teaching from no hate, teaching you linguistics, teaching you what connotation, denotation is, teaching you what subjective, objective means, teaching you what linguistics mean, teaching you what dispensation really is about, teaching you about the essence of things, giving you real history, prehistory, telling you the difference from ancient and modern, what's paleo and what's modern, not getting caught up in connotations. This is what I'm telling us. And this is not a sacrifice when we adults. It's a choice. Why? Because we choose to spend our finances on things. And this is the thing I ask Moors. If our mothers and sisters and even members now that may be on here, they go to church and come right home from church and complain, and people give their finances. And I'm telling you, we're structured the same way. We can really make a difference in this world. This is what I'll be telling Moors. I don't have no, excuse my candor, no pissing contest with no Negroes. I'm not here to try to prove no point to nobody. These teachers saved my family. This was for me. This was for me. I was searching for something and found the great God in myself. So I speak from within. You see what I'm saying? My brother was murdered by a Negro, black, and color. So when I speak of righteousness, when I say I deal with this physical world and the spiritual, because I've seen the dark side. I done stepped in it. I done been a part of it. So I ain't coming from nobody like, oh, I feel where you're coming from. No, I know where you're coming from because I've been there. So when we coming from things, these are things we're supposed to do and supposed to build. And we got to be honest about this more science, man. So that's what I deal with, brothers and sisters. When I talk about the world, it's the world that we live in. How can you say this is for you and then you can't bring nobody into these teachings? Then that means you're trying to bury something. Because we're here. Look at us. Look at the brothers that's on here. All the different areas. Look what we're synchronizing. Just imagine if we was in the same area or the same domicile, whatever catchphrase you want to use. We'll be communing together. This is what I'm telling brothers. Look at us communing. Look at what this internet has done. Look at the good in things. This internet has brought Brother Ali Shabazz, Brother Mindful of Dab, Brother Devin Rock, Brother Don Quee Bay, my brother Tyrell, my brother James Bay. Come on, man. This is what this is doing. Imagine if we was all in the same domicile or the same area. We'll be communing together. We'll be building. We'll be bringing our children. You'll be coming to the classes structured. So if we can do that, if we was there, we have the technology to do that abroad. We take these same tools. We take these same tools and use them for the good. How? Structurally. Just like other universities teach, it's going to be the same way. That's why I tell Moors, the initiation fee, you're going to get all the books to be able to go along and build. This is what I'm telling Moors. I said, you're going to be built. This is a small choice to pay. I said, this is a real school. You're going to get books. We're going to learn together. We're going to synchronize. I'm going to use an analogy. I'm going to take my teeth out like a baby and get on Similac. And I'm going to come up together with y'all just like a baby. And that's why I said it's going to take a year for more to even understand whatever catchphrase you want to use, the 32 and 33 degrees. Because the first thing you're going to have to do is get a flush and fill and reboot your hard drive. That's just the first steps right there. And that's getting all that stuff out of your head and rebooting your hard drive, getting all that false information out, and flush and fill, getting all that toxic stuff inside of you. What you think you know. That's what I'm telling Moors. And if Moore is not willing to do that, then of course we can be con. Of course we can be caught up in somebody's connotations of what more science is, and then or history, or even masonry, what is really the logistics of it, and they don't have no historicalness. They don't have no real manuscripts. They just coming from a westernized perspective, or somebody talking about something that's a fraud, because they're not studying real more science, and more science comes from a place. I keep telling y'all, man, I don't diss anything. More science come from a place. It comes from a place. That's why our prophet said he divinely and prepared. So if he gathered and prepared, that means something was already structured. That means if I was going to pick something, I'm gathering and preparing it. I'm getting the wisdom from what? The ancient manuscripts, from the Vedas, from all the holy books. When I pull together, when I talk about what more science really consists of, the zodiac laws, all these science, all these manifestations coming together, manifestation of the great God Allah and man. Understanding what this science really consists of, and everything else is international law, Moors. So we should be sharing this with our brothers and sisters. We should be honest. We should be very, very truthful on what more science is and what is not, because Moors getting things confused. Like how I broke down yesterday, more science is not Al-Islam, and in some manifestation, like my dad was just saying, when we stay in the right context, Al-Islam can just mean the Quran. But you got to understand the context where I'm coming from when people can take things out of context, when people diss things. And when I show you right in religion, what it says, the Nation of Islam, they say that Fire Muhammad since the 1930s is the Messiah for the Mahida, the Muslims, and the Christians. Come on, man. I see, and that's what I tell Moors. That's like, we got to get things, and that is not more science. So, as we proceed, like I said, today going to be the last teaching until when classes start, because, man, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to, just like in our civics, you're going to learn life, liberty, and property. You're going to learn so much other stuff, man, manuscripts, when you're going to understand, like, oh, holy crap, things that when people say we don't need that no more. And I'm like, man, whoever tell you that you don't need something no more, that's law and that's structure, you need to run from that. That's the first sign of somebody talking nonsense. Talking about we don't need that no more. Only time you don't need something no more when it's law, if the law was abolished. If the laws ain't abolished, you need to tell that goofball to go on. Everything is structure, man. Everything come from a place. That's how I know Moors don't study. When I show you ancient manuscripts, everything come from a place. Don't get caught up in something because you don't know it. Just like when I talk about the Book of Mormon, and I say, man, the Book of the Mormon come from a text called the View of the Hebrews. And the person say, what's the View of the Hebrews? I'm like, I know. I said, so before you diss anything, a person need to kind of pump their brakes. If you're not a scholar in certain things, a person will say they're a religious scholar. And I say, you can't be a religious scholar if you don't understand the religious books and synchronize them and tell the truth about the essence and where the writer got the research from. Especially if you don't understand that, you have to pump your brakes. Because the first thing a lower level person to do is start dissing things and saying, this is about some white man. I say, man, no, it's not. And I can show you where the Book of Mormon comes from, the View of the Hebrews. Simple scholarship. Simple elementary scholarship. Simple thing, when you start pulling out linguistics, you'll be like, oh, because this is the study and the craft. And it's a level of wisdom. We must know when a person say when they have the title of sheikh, adapt, a magi, the first thing I ask a person, do you know what a sheikh, adapt, and a magi is? And the Buddha? I really hope so. And a scholar, especially a scholar in the flesh. Come on, man. Everybody's not sick in the same manifestation. So if I say I'm a doctor or a scholar in a certain manifestation, I have to be a specialist in that certain how can I say a manifestation of the person or the object or whatever I'm trying to resuscitate. You understand what I'm saying? I have to have the proper skills. To what? To be able to resuscitate what? Mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, whatever. Why? Because I'm supposed to be in the depth. Come on, man. Y'all don't hear me, man. Y'all don't hear this science, what I'm giving y'all. That's why I said we're going to teach. Watch this. I don't even want to stick with this. I gotta, you know what? I gotta give homage to things, man. And I must do things the right way because we get things twisted. So let me stay in line, and then I'm going to get into this teaching. Because like I said, this is the last one till school start. And I hope Moors be ready. I hope Moors be dedicated and willing to be students. If not, assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, peace be with you, au revoir, you know what I mean? It is what it is, Moors. But I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work or in their homes or the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by our prophet. If we lose confidence in the prophet, we should turn in our card, our button, cease wearing our turban and fez, and return to the state where we were found. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the temple is not right, the prophet is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out divine pleas to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Man, we can get in all type of man-made religion, man, and how I can show y'all how people talk over your head and how they double talk. And I just demonstrated yesterday from the Nation of Islam what they believe, how they say they believe in the truth of the Bible, but it must be interpreted because it's been touched. Of course we know that. Come on, man. And then they turn around right in the same breath and say that this person, that a person never seen, this magical person, here we go again. Everybody want to say this magical, just like in Christianity, they try to say, they believe in some person, Jesus. And I'm like, that manifestation, I'm like, but you missing the whole story. And then you right in the same breath, you say that Fire Muhammad is the Messiah for the Mahdi's of the Muslims and the Christians. Come on, man. Come on, Moors. So we just gotta teach from the right perspective. And in school, you're gonna get a lot of the truth of things. When people just be lying to you about the AA222141 number, and I'm gonna show you what that really means. I'm gonna show you what all those numbers mean. When I tell Moors, you got to be careful when a person just making up numbers. And it's almost like when a person say they looking up stuff in Wikipedia, and when you see somebody talk about research and all they do is Google University, and I laugh and I say they don't have any holy books, and I say Wikipedia don't mean anything. When a person be talking about law, and I'm like, man, that's not even real. That's off Wikipedia. And I'm like, that doc number is not even real. That case number is not even real. They be like, how you know? I said, man, because I have a library. I have a law library. I have a catalog. It's a thing called the Free Information Act. I mean, I don't be understanding. It's a thing called a doc number. Anything can be researched. If you're a scholar, look, man, additional certification of registration of a claim to copyright. I hope y'all listen to what I'm saying. Listen, I'm gonna show y'all something. This is to certify that the statements set forth in the attached have been made a part of the records of the Copyright Office with claim of copyright registered under number AA222141, in testimony whereof the seal of this office is affixed hereunto on January 10th, 2014. Look, watch. I'm going to show y'all what numbers mean when a person be getting you caught up in goofy stuff. I'm going to show you how people be getting you caught up in goofy stuff and get you all in trouble, get you caught up in some domestic terrorist goofy stuff. I'm telling you, man. And I'm just showing y'all, and this is the Zodiac Constitution. When I be talking about when people be using things fraudulently, I'm like, look, man, hey, you don't gotta listen to me. And then when a person, this is just when I be telling people that's the number at the Library of Congress where you can find the Zodiac Constitution. I'm telling you, man. And people be getting, and I be like, man, people be lying, and I'm like, they be making stuff up. But then I'm gonna show you what it really means in the law. And that's what you're gonna get in school. I can't give you all the other numbers because that's what you're gonna get in school. You're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be like, man, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the code of mathematics, scaling from 0 to 9, or 0 scaling to 9 and 0 to 9, and the science of geometry, the G, comprise the constitution of the living Moorish nation of the North America, referred to as Negroes who ruled the world, and the 7 seas by the 12 signs of the zodiac, and the science of geometry. For 1196 years, to the Amazon Dutch German Catholic priesthood fathered of the Revolution of 1789, and the Sisterhood Magna Carta, the Emancipation Proclamation, Union Society of, the white supremacy per se, in 1863, North America. And this is simple stuff. This is when I be telling Moors, I'll be like, man, I get a lower level, no disrespect, European Mason that study history and study the science so much and they suppress it. And I get a brother, a Moor, or anybody that say they study something, and all they gonna do is come and with Wikipedia, and they gonna get their butt handed to them. If you're gonna talk about what somebody understand and research, not what somebody just making up and you want to believe, because they talking over your head. The 12 journeymen of the 50 Union State Society and along the non-judges of the Supreme Court were founded upon the Moorish nation's 12 signs of the Zodiac Constitution and mathematics, scaling from 0 to 9. I'm telling you. Article 2, the Zodiac Constitution, birthrights of the Moorish Americans. I ain't even going to break it all down, because when we break this down in class, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see. And I'm going to synchronize so much stuff. But I ain't even going to go all there for you. Not yet. That's going to be for class. But I'll give you a little taste. Let me show you that's in the syllabus. Hold on. Watch this. Let me see what I want to give you. Watch this. I'm gonna give you something, man, that's gonna spark an interest. And you could be like, wow, like that make a lot of sense. Now watch this. Now, remember I just showed you that 882 number on the Zodiac Constitution, right? Watch this. Remember I showed you this right here, right? You see that number, right? Now watch this. Now watch this. Now watch, I'm going to tell you how, don't get caught up in nobody dumb teaching, just making up stuff. I'm telling you, man. And when I say things must be done internationally and done the right way, everything else is fraud. Political status, that AA2221411. Political status, classified truth. A-1, the freehold by inheritance. Registration number AA222141, recorded with the United States Public Corporate Officials. Title 22, Chapter 2, 141, 143. Repealed. Watch this. 141 and 143. Repealed August 1st, 1956. Act, August 1, 1956, repealed sections 141 and 143 effective upon the date which the president determined to be appropriate for the relinquishment of jurisdiction of the United States in Morocco was relinquished by memorandum of the President Eisenhower, dated September 15, 1956. And I'm going to stop right there. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, Morris? You see what I'm saying? We got a lot to learn. Watch. So you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna be able to stand strong on truth, especially when they come up with that false history. And you being afraid of your masonry, your craftsmanship. When I say all this science, it comes from you. Watch this. I'm going to give y'all a little bit, and we're going to jump right into the real Indians, is the Negro and the AKA the Blackamoor. And I'm going to show you who had these teachings. I'm going to show you who had these teachings. And the first thing you can start connecting the dots. That's why I say the first thing you must do is remove all hate. That's the first thing you must do. Because if you read your Moorish Quran and you're not understanding what the Quran is about and all these teachings of Moorish science, what it's talking about in our silent brotherhood of the East and in all our Quranic studies and all the genealogies and everything and our catechism of understanding Quran 20 to 48, I'm like, you tripping. And that's how I know Moors not studying real Moorish science. Only thing we're doing is our own thing. I promise you that. Moors were not modern Arabs. This is woman. Moors were not modern Arabs. Watch when I start giving y'all books, man. When I'm telling you, I'm not trying to toot my horn. When I got ancient books, like it's a book by Bertrand Thomas. It's called The Arab. And in that book, Bertrand Thomas tells you exactly who the Arab is. But see, when they reprinted the books, because a lot of time they reprint books and they try to take the science out of them, they tried to take one of the pages out that got the genetic facts. But see, I got the original one from the doctoral library before they tried to take them off the market, before they reprinted them all. You hear me? Y'all don't hear me. But Moors were not modern Arabs. Watch this history. See, this is the stuff when I said my couple students, this history, I said we teach more science, history, the science. We teach we teach the 7 Kemetic principles. We teach this master. We teach the 9 to the 9 to the 9th power, which is Hika. We teach this supreme wisdom. This is all more science, history, law, civics, nation building, education. The first university was built in Salamanca and in Timbuktu. Come on, man. So how are we going to diss education? How are we going to diss education then? We dissing it because the Moors that's talking not educated. That's why. They diss a language because they ignorant. And just tell the truth. And we talking about a whole bunch of nothings. Man, when you searching for something and you find it, you're supposed to latch on to that. You're supposed to be spreading this from a podium. This is righteousness. Man, I got a lady 70 years old hit me up like she been studying this forever and blah, blah, blah. She glad she found these teachers and be having class with her sons and them with my message. Man, humble me, you know? She like, none of the Moors is giving the teachers and showing the manuscript. She like, you remind me of her husband. And she was just showing me a lot of books, about what her husband had. She like, my husband had all those manuscripts you got, especially when I talk about metaphysics and Dr. Kinley, especially when I started teaching y'all about metaphysics. When I start breaking them maps down, when I start showing you Aya, Asher, Iyer, when I start showing you that higher science, which adapts know that God and man in one. When I be talking about another one of the occult sciences, when I talk about Elohim or man made in the image of Elohim, I'm telling you, man, this synchronicity. And more is missing the whole fact because they're not studying more science. You making some stuff up. And more science is understanding that God and man is one. That's the first thing more science is supposed to do. It lets you know who you are genetically, that you're connected to not only your foremothers and your forefathers, but you're connected to what? The fathers of civilization, the mothers and fathers of civilization. Y'all missing that. But we say modern Arab because Arab does not mean that one was not a Moor. Follow me. The confusion comes in because Arab is a language group as well as a national identity in modern times. Remember when I talk about modern and paleo, it's the difference from modern and ancient. All you got to do is look it up. Arab in the generic sense is anyone who speaks the language of Arabic. Just like when a person say they Jewish, and I'm like, look, I haven't had this debate on a college campus, and we already broke that down. How? Using their books. I use the Jewish Encyclopedia. I use all the books and break it down. And so I don't come from a hateful place. I say, you speak Yiddish, you speak this. Jew don't mean nothing. You believe in Judaism. If your mama believe in that, blah, blah, blah. But I break the science down, and then I show you how the word play. Then they start switching the words and the names. But we know better than that. Why? Because we come from scholarship, and scholarship is a place for love. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things and hold fast to what is good. We just standing strong on our square. That's all we doing. How? From love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Why? That's all we're doing. And if you can't defend your degrees like that, I don't understand why we don't want to be a student. But Moors are what we would be considered to be so-called African. However, the definition has changed over time, which also lends to misnomers. You must research what a misnomer is. North African, Berber. See, this is the thing how in late history, when I'm going to show y'all, well, my dad studying Thomas Jefferson Quran, when I'll be showing y'all how in history, they try to tell you Berber pirates, and then all of a sudden in history, you don't see Mohammedan anymore. And then you got to understand what's the Mohammedan, what's the Mobite, and then you start connecting the dots. When I say at one point the world was black, you missing that Berber aspect, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother story. But North African, Berber, late 4th century, French, Old French, M-O-R-E, from medieval, Latin, M-O-R-U-S, from Latin, M-A-U-R-U-S, inhabited of Mauritania, Northwest Africa, a region now corresponding to northern Algeria and Morocco. Don't y'all know that when I tell y'all about Shakespeare, and I show you how Shakespeare wrote about Othello the Moor? Man, I can show y'all all through history how when they were writing in Greek and all the other writings, they were spelling more M-O-H-R. And man, it went right over Moors' heads, you know? But anyway, from Greek, M-A-U-R-O-S, perhaps a native name, or else cognate with M-A-U-R-O-S, Moros, black. But this adjective only appeared in late Greek and may as well be from the people's name as the reverse. Just like I tell y'all, research in a 1599 Geneva Bible. Research in Jeremiah. I have to find the scriptures for you. I got them written down, and I told Morris about that earlier when I said when certain things was conquered at a certain time. I know King James when he wrote the Bible. That's why he called himself James but I'll show you how things were changed and things were rewritten, because in the 1599 Geneva Bible, anywhere it talks about Ethiopian or anything like that, Ed Menelik is the blackamoor. I got so many scriptures where it talk about the blackamoor in the 1599 Geneva Bible, and that's what you're going to get. For I can show you, people knew who you were. In the 1599 scriptures Bible, everywhere it don't say no African, it says the blackamoor. It says the blackamoor. I have to find in my studies because I was demonstrated on it yesterday. But you can research in the 1599 Geneva Bible. I think in Jeremiah. I think in it'll come to me because I got it around here somewhere. But yeah. But with Moros black. But this adjective only appeared in late Greek and may as well be from the people's name as their reverse. But being a dark people in relation to Europeans, their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro, later 16th, 17th century, used indiscriminately of Muslims, Persians, Arabs, but especially those in India. Man, I can show y'all Moorish dances. Like I can tell y'all, man, look at the pictures, man. A lot of stuff is in museums. And I'll be telling Moors, I'm like, man, I got so many books from the museums, man, where the stuff be there. Don't y'all know the carnival tradition in the carnival that Ringling goes back centuries? And the mention of a carnival in a Ringling are already come from the end of the Middle Ages. And Ringling is the city of the Moor launderers. As Ringling once performed in a circus, was among other things, and a so-called black man and Moor with the troops and the inhabitants of the city. Yeah, that's right, Noble. That's right. Ali Shabazz, that's right. And it's a whole bunch more. And I'm gonna start showing where in literature, in history class, I'm gonna start showing more where more was all written through history, especially in the Netherlands. When I show you all the writings in the Netherlands, you'll be like, holy crap. And I'll be like, yeah, they talking about you. And I'm gonna show you all the Celtic history when a person to stay away from it, and you will see a person with a lighter skin dressed up in Moorish attire. And soon as you start opening wisdom, it blows your mind. I'm gonna show you Peter Lambert Wilson, the Sacred Drift. I'm gonna show you what our prophet was doing when Moors have no inclination of what was going on with the Moorish Orthodox Church. That's why I be telling Moors, you got to remove your hate. The science is old. But the inhabitants of the city, which had previously never seen a black man, felt that this was an act of a white man who had not washed. Did y'all hear that? Who had not washed. Now, I'm going to give y'all some history about Black Pete, Swarty Pyatt. You see in the Netherlands when they say, and then you got to see who Santa Claus is. Santa Claus is Saint Claus. So Santa Claus in that manifestation is dressed up like the damn Pope. And you got to understand what that history all about. And then they say the reason how Santa's helper got dark because he went down a chimney. But we know better than that. I can start showing you all the Saturnalia. It's just so many things that it is what it is. But we got to understand how a lot of folktale be really stories that try to get you caught up in the characterness of it. But really it be telling you a real story. But the inhabitants of the city, which had previously never seen a black man, felt that this was an act of a white man who had not washed. They dragged him to the fountain, to the fountain on the square, and tried to scrub the white Moor. It was no use. He was black. Since then, the hot Ringling, the Moor scrubber, and as a symbol for the figure Moor, was created. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? Don't y'all know the such thing called the whitewash ritual? And see, man, this is science. This is when I say, man, when Moors, I say, man, this is elementary science. Everybody knows this ain't nothing new what I'll be talking about. When people talk about they hid something, they ain't hid nothing from no scholar. Ain't nothing hidden. How can something be hidden where anybody can go research the science? And that's what you're going to get in school. I'm going to re-educate you. Just like Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the Negro, the miseducation of the Moor. You know? Whitewash ritual. after the Gole, the Gole, research what that's all about, had moved into the city, followed on Wednesday evening in the town square. The whitewash, already in the 50s, the custom of the Ringling Moor scrubber was celebrated with joy, but then adjusted again over the years. Now, I'm going to stop right there. You remember in Maccabees, and I ain't going to give you the scripture, you're going to get this in scripture teachings, but you probably can research this right now. In Maccabees, it says, the heathen, which is the Gentile, tried to whitewash themselves in a history book. Research that. That ain't me talking. That's the scriptures. If we're going to tell a story, I tell you, I got the Old Testament Apocrypha, the New Testament Apocrypha. There's so many different books. And then I'm going to show y'all an old book by Vladimir Ivanov called Russian Icona, and it's showing them how they in the pyramids whitewashing everything. So don't get upset. We just teach from love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which is scholarship. We are educated people. At the newly established group of traveler, the Moor and his washing burn, the whitewash was then brought back from a deep sleep in the 750th anniversary of the city in 2005 Moors. A well-known personality who had rendered outstanding service to the Ringling, but is not born in the city, is pre-selected in a secret and presented as a big surprise to the assembled foolish citizens that evening, first times in a humorous manner circumscribed, before it is then brought to the stage and washed in a wash tub for real Ringling Moor. I'm telling y'all, I'm giving y'all a story, man. Don't get mad at me. Moor, ancient Moorish language. Language is Kemetic. What they call Semitic is Moabite, also known as Phoenician. Remember I showed y'all in different writings, Phoenician, Phoenicium, Carthaginian, they be all the same stuff. I'm going to show y'all the connections. This is what you're going to get in school, where you can remove the veil of religious dogma and get in science. We know the theory, but we definitely should know the science. That's the XO and the SO. But it's clearly Kemetic. How did it jump from Kemetic to so-called Semitic when I started showing you the language and the signs and symbols, But when it says certain things you got to understand, how signs and symbols was connotated from different perspectives. And you're going to get that in school. Moabite Phoenicians in Europe, or Armorica, Armorica, or Aremorica, Aremorica, was also the name given in ancient times to the part of the Gaul area between the Seine and the Loire rivers, the Seine and the Loire rivers Moors. That included the Brittany Peninsula, extending inland to an intermediate point and down the Atlantic coast. The topony is based on the Gaulish phrase Armori, remember? Armoron, at the sea, made in the Gaulish place named Armorica, placed by the sea. The suffix iak was first used to create adjectival forms and then names. That's why you got to see the regions such as Pays d'Ouch from Utica and Perch from Pertica. Research this stuff. The original designation was vague, including a large part of what became Normandy in the 10th century, and in some interpretations, Moors, the whole of the coast down to the Garonne River. Later, the term became restricted to Brittany, Moors. In Britain, which belonged to the Brythonic branch of the insular Celtic language. Remember when I was telling y'all about Celtic magic? And I'm going to show y'all on the book, you see a person in a lighter hue, but when you look at the attire, it's all Moorish, and nobody never picked up the science. And that's why I'll be laughing, man. Along with the Welsh and the Cornish. On the sea is war, vor Welsh, are ye more. Though the older form, arvor, is used to reform to the coastal regions of Brittany. In the contrast to Argaud or Orant. Man, we can go on and on with this science, man. That's why when people be talking about things and taking things out of context, especially a lot of Moors that in their lower self, no disrespect to no one. That's why when we talk about the so-called or the blood of Jesus, it takes the blood of Jesus to be saved. Then so-called blacks were born saved. Jesus was of Moabite and Canaanite blood, and so is your DNA. That's the first thing I'll be telling Moors when you dissing something. And I say, what our Moorish Quran talks about? What our Silent Brotherhood it talks about? I'll be waiting for Moors to answer the question. In our case, you didn't know Canaan was one of Ham's sons. Ham in the Bible is supposed to be the father of the so-called blacks, not to mention that Ruth was a Moabitess, Mohammedan. Come on, man. What is the line and a genealogy from which Jesus came? Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph, spiritual father by Mary. If we're going to talk about things, if we're going to say we real Moors and our paperwork connect us to God, and to the great God Allah, and it says in our paperwork we're from the tribe of Judah, lineage of David by blood. Somebody tell me I'm lying. Somebody tell me I'm lying. That's why I tell people slaves can't get reparations. In law, damages are an onward typical of money to be paid to a person as compensation for loss of injury, and the rules for damages can and frequently do vary based on the type of claim which is presented. Breach of contract versus a tort claim, and the jurisdiction. So at common law, and that's why I said this is what you're going to get in school. When I be like, people talk about we don't need this no more, and I said that's why everybody is getting caught up in fraudulent concealment, and you looked at as a domestic terrorist, and people are going to be caught up in a RICO law with all that fraudulent stuff. Watch. But at common law, damages are categorized into compensationary or actual damages and punitive damages. Compensation damages are further categorized in special damages, which are economic losses, such as loss of earnings, property damage, and medical expenses, and general damages, which are non-economic damages, such as pain and suffering and emotional distress. So don't get mad when a person gives you facts. That's why prophet said that they are going to have to pay for all the work the foreparents did, and with compound interest. And more don't even understand what that science is all about. And then you go listen to some more dissing science, and that is not what no prophet taught. When I asked some more, I said, "Don't y'all know the slave ship called Jesus? Do anybody more know that?" Hold on. Hey, look, my homeboy on here like, this your last one? He like, no. But I'm like, yeah, this is my last one until class start, man. I might come on here and just say what's up to the people just to show something, but yeah. But yeah, Captain John Hawkins captured so many Moors, he was given the ship Jesus by Queen Isabella and the Demi Moore banner as a testimony of his enslavement of the Moors. Do any Moors know about the War of Ferdinand and Isabella? Answer that yes or no, and be honest. And be honest. Don't sit up here and make a story up. Have anybody heard of the history of the reign of Ferdinand and Isabella? Have anybody studied that science? Hold on. That's everything?
Yes. We bring everything in. We don't be making no 2 trips.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to make 2 trips. Our circulation be cut off. Oh, yeah. But we don't make.
That's my mom to me, y'all.
Oh, I forgot I gotta get my purse.
But did y'all hear that? You said you heard of it and never studied it. And that's what they gonna get in school. I'm gonna teach y'all. We're gonna educate ourselves. Yeah, the doctrine of discovery, that's something different. We gonna teach that too. See, that's what I was telling when I was that's something in my other studies. We talk about the doctrine of discovery, and that's a whole different teaching. But yes, we're gonna learn about the doctrine of discovery. That's an important fact in history. We're gonna break that whole science down, and I'm gonna show you how they tried to just sweep stuff under the rug. But the religious laws protect you. That's what I keep telling people. We're gonna study historically. So that's what I say when I tell people the laws protect you. When somebody dissing the laws, and I say, how are you going to be a Moor and be a lawful and a clean nation, and you going against the Constitution? You got to be crazy. The laws protect you. The religious laws protect us. That's why I'm telling Moors, if you don't want to be a student, I understand. But like I say, I won't see you no more. You know? But Captain John Hawkins captured so many Moors, he was given the ship Jesus by Queen Isabella and a Demi Moore banner as a testimony of his enslavement of the Moors. See? You see that? You see that? And when I start showing you, when we get in class, when I say, man, I got elementary kids that know this history. I mean, it's films. Don't y'all know Robin Hood with Kevin Costner, Morgan Freeman? All of them was Moors. Robin Hood's Moorish companion, Azim. Martin Lawrence played Jamal. Remember, in the medieval world? Remember that? And he find himself a Moor in the 14th century England. Remember that, y'all? Y'all remember that? You remember that? Few documents portrayed the ethnicity of the Moors in medieval Europe with more passion, boldness, and clarity than Moorian, M-O-R-I-E-N. Moorian is a metrical romance rendered into English prose from the medieval Dutch version, right, of the Lancelot. And Morion is an adventure of a speedily hero with Moorish knight, supposed to have lived in those days of King Arthur and the Knight of the Round Table, golden age of the Moors. I'm gonna tell, don't you, Ivan Van Sertima, golden age of the Moors. You gonna get this science, man. This is what I tell Moors. You should want to be a part of this school. This is education. Remember, Lawrence Fishburne played the title role of Othello. Remember? Lawrence Fishburne, and I told y'all Shakespeare wrote of who? What Othello? Othello the Moor. The second so-called African-American actor after Paul Robeson to perform the role. The movie was based on the tragedy of Othello the Moor of Venice. Just like when I tell you all about my boy, Angelo Solomon. When I break down who Angelo Solomon was, you're going to be like, what? Yeah, the first true Moorish Mason, Angelo Solomon. I'm telling you, man. And these is things that we must correct ourselves. But we give credit to everything outside ourselves. And I say, Moors, stop faking the funk and thinking being a Moor like you some against the laws. That's not Moor science these goofballs doing. But the tragedy of Othello the Moor of Venice by William Shakespeare, written around 1603 and based on an Italian short story on Capino Moro, a Moorish captain. And black, according to science, mean deaf, Moors. And don't get mad. Don't get mad when I say black according to science. According to the science of what? Law. According to science of law, man. So stay in the context of according to science of law. Ain't nobody saying black is not beautiful. Yeah, black is beautiful. I'm not disrespecting that. But black ain't nobody nationality. Black is beautiful. I'm down with that, you know? I'm down with the origin of the scientific breakdown of blackness when it comes to melanin. Don't get it twisted. I'm down with what the scriptures testify with the chemical makeup of man. 666 equals 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. I'm down with the science, but I'm talking about in law. It does not transmute into law. It does not transmute into law. It does not transmute into law. Are you following? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth before we proceed? If you do, somebody say Islam. Somebody say Assalamu alaikum. Somebody say peace be with you. Somebody say peace, my brother. But I'm just saying, like I'm telling y'all, Moors, no, I always have to be funny with things, but this is the last teaching until the class start. And I will be sending the syllabus out. So I want Moors to be down with what we're doing. But listen, you got to listen and don't get upset. Think clearly. This is how you're going to get caught up with all these Afrocentric brothers. And I also call it that Eurocentric. Man, I'm not saying black is not beautiful. I'm not saying black is not beautiful. I'm not saying red, orange, purple, green, white. I'm not saying that's not beautiful neither. But what I'm saying in science and according to law, black is beautiful, yes, but it don't transmute into law. And that law, and in reference to nationality, it means a dead nation with no land or flag tied to it. Wait till part 2 when I get in the real Indian, the Negro, aka the Blackamoor. Y'all better have y'all pens. Because if you ain't feeling real corded after this and feeling real strong of what you gonna get in class, in history class, I don't know what's gonna happen, because part 2 gonna shock you. It's gonna make you do the Dorothy, gonna tap your feet like there's no place like home. Watch. Black is a slave caste label, like white is, and you know what the white caste represents. But if you really want something to think about, Moors, a Moor with his nationality is considered a part of the white caste at law, because he is a whole and not a 3/5. Think about that before you make an ignorant statement. That's why the word black as a verb has its own origin in what? Black, B-L-A-K, adjective. Old English, B-L-A-E-C, dark, from Proto-Germanic, black is B-L-A-K-A-Z, burn, cognates, Old Norse, B-L-A-K-K-R, blurk, dark, Old High German, blah, B-L-A-K, Swedish, black, ink, Dutch, blacken, to burn, from pie, B-H-L-E-G, bleak, to burn, gleam, shine, flash, cognates, Greek, fleen, P-H-L-E-G-I-N, to burn, scorch, Latin, florere, to blaze, glow, burn, from root, B-H-E-L, the one, to shine, flash, burn, see bleach, verb, watch this, here we go. We finna climb down the ladder. Bleach, a verb. Old English, bleaken, B-L-A-E-C-A-N, bleach, whiten. What? From Proto-Germanic, black or bleaching, B-L-A-I-K-J-A-N, to make white. To make white. I hope y'all follow me. You hear what I'm saying, Ma?
Yeah.
Cognates, Old Saxon, Blake, Old Norse, bleaker, B-L-E-I-K-R, Dutch, bleak, Old High German, bleak, German, bleak, pale, Old Norse, bleija, Dutch, bleaken, German, bleaken, to bleach, from pie root, same stuff, to shine, flash, burn, cognates, Sanskrit, burjate, B-H-R-A-J-A-T-E, shines, Greek, P-H-L-E-G-E-I-N, to burn, Latin, flamma, flame, flumen, lightning, flurger, to shine, flash. Are you following what I'm saying? I hope y'all following, seeing what I'm saying. To burn, Old Church, Slavic, blue, white, Lithuanian, baleness, pale. What am I connected? What did I just show y'all? What did I just break down linguistically? Etymology. What did I just break down? I hope y'all follow that science. This is what you're gonna get in school. I'm telling you, like I said. And my homeboy up there, he like, man, don't stop. He like, you gotta show more before February. No, this the last teaching until February. I'm gonna still be on here hollering at y'all. But part 2 gonna be the last part of history. But do you see what I'm saying? Black referred to people did not exist before the 1600s. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? If you ask anybody from this, I just broke something down to y'all. I broke what black and what bleak, what I broke down. And see, that's what more should be getting bumps on their hand, irons like I be getting when I be breaking this science down. Black referring to people did not exist before the 1600s. Did you hear me, Mom?
What's that?
Blacks did not exist. Black referring to people did not exist before 1600.
I know, and they still don't in parts of the continent of Africa. They don't call themselves black. They don't refer to them.
Prior to that, Moors, black were known as Moors, blackamoors, then black. Black, noun, Old English, B-L-A-E-C, the color black, also ink. From noun use of black is an adjective from late 14th century as dark spot in the pupil of an eye. The meaning, black person, African, and is from the 1620s, perhaps late 13th century, and blackamoors from the 1540s. Man, come on. The Moors who ruled Spain for 800 years introduced new scientific techniques to Europe, such as astrolabe or astrolabe, a device for measuring the position of the stars and planets, and scientific progress in astronomy, chemistry, physics, mathematics, geometry, and philosophy flourished in Moorish Spain. It was due to the Moorish education of Europe that enabled the Renaissance and the scientific revolution. And in contrast, Moors, the medieval Europe was steeped in squalor and bleakness of scientific and cultural ignorance. And the castle, adobe of the medieval European was often dank and cold, with the floor covering an animal and human droppings. And it's only after the coming of the Moors and other Muslim people to the Western Europe that the Christians began to reassemble an industrial civilization in the true sense of the word Moors. You can research this, cross-reference it, Golden Age of the Moors, page 214. Now watch this. Morisco means Moorish. Morisco means Moorish. The wars went on, and one by one the Moorish strongholds fell until only Granada remained in the hands. Malaga, Malaga, was taken in 1487 after a long siege by forces of Ferdinand and Isabella. I just told y'all the history of the reign of Ferdinand and Isabella, which I say this was one of the biggest wars in history that they're not going to tell you about. But in 1492, Granada was recovered. Many of the Moors remained in Spain. Those who remained faithful to Islam were called Mudejares, Mudejares, while those who accepted Christianity were called Morisco. Morisco. Moors converted to Christianity after the Christian reconquest. So if it was a reconquest, what it had to be beforehand? That was the 11th and the 15th century of Spain. The Moors who had become subject of Christian kings as the reconquest progressed to the 15th century were called Mudejares, and they remained Muslim, and their religion and custom were generally respected. And after the fall of Granada in 1492, Cardinal Ximenes converted many Moors by peaceful means. However, the rigorous treatment of those who refused conversion or apostatized from the new faith led to an uprising, 1500 to 1502 in Granada. I'm telling you, man. The Moriscos, the Moors, were Muslims who were forced to convert to Christianity rather than be killed or expelled from Spain and Portugal in the early 1500s. And over time, the term was used in a derogatory sense, applied to the Catholics who were suspected of secretly practicing Islam. And the Moriscos were eventually expelled from Spain in 1609, Valencia, and 1614, Castile. I hope y'all know what I'm talking about, man. See all this science you're going to get in school? Don't you want this? Man, you should be trembling. The Thanksgiving celebration is the fall and the subjugation of the Moors. Just historically. That's when I be telling Moors, I say, man, come on. If we're going to say something, we got to give the right history. On November 25th, 1491, after a long bloody fight against the Moors, Asiatic Muslims who occupied Spain over 700 years, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain fell upon their knees and gave thanks to Santiago for their victory over the Moors. Did you know that, Ma? On this same day, the Pope of Rome proclaimed that day to be forever a day of thanksgiving for all European Christians. Why, you may ask? Because the so-called blacks of Granada, called the Moors, who were originally from Africa, Spain, and Arabia, surrendered the city of Granada, the last stronghold of the Moors in Spain. I just told y'all about the war of the what? Ferdinand and Isabella. And the wall of the Moorish Empire came tumbling down. And these Sabian Moors were driven into Morocco and further down into the West Africa and were later betrayed, captured, and sold into the Americas as so-called slaves. And honey down the stream, deep olive Kharajite Moors from Baghdad, Turkey, enslaving him was an actual highly regarded by the Christian European forces who despised the Moors. Mockly called them Turkeys. Man, what? Watch this. Watch this. Watch this, y'all. Watch me break some down. They mockly called them Turkeys. Did y'all hear that? Mockly called them Turkeys. Now watch this. Ibrahim Kalula. Thanksgiving for whom? Now watch this. Get your pencils and your papers because I want you to do some research. Now watch this. Get the Federal Depository of New York State in the New York Handbook of the North American Indians, page 219 of the U.S. Government Printing Office, Washington, D.C. That's right, Noble. 20402. Stock number 04700000351-2. Copyright 1979. By Smithsonian Library of Congress, cataloging in public data. And see what they hid. It said that the Aboriginals, I'm paraphrasing, or the indigenous people of the land are the Moors and the Turks. Are the Moors and the Turks. Are the Moors and the Turks. I hope y'all listening to me, man. Research the science. That's why the Moors' heads was a symbol of triumph and later status in Spain. But we use it for endearment. You know? While in much of European, the heraldry denotes proud lineage. However, this was not always the case. Full definition of the Moor's head was a representation of a human head with feathers, characteristics, or formerly supposed to be the characteristics of a Moor. A heraldic representation of a head, usually with the features of a color of a black person depicted in profile, with a band about the forehead, with the band about, the Corsica Moor's head, unless a different position or a different headdress is specified, right? The Moorish dance of Europe and the Morisca dance of the Americas is of the Moorish origin. When I tell y'all about Swarty Black Pete, Swarty Pyatt, and the legend of Swarty Pete also occasionally refers to him as a Moor, and the term was more than scientific and referred to one of the many different groups originating in North Africa. Didn't y'all know that? And at one time controlled Spain. Don't y'all know that? Swarty Pyatt, he dark-skinned, curly hair, red lips. It's in the book by Jan Skinkman, Jan Schenkman. His book, Saint Nicholas, Engene King, Saint Nicholas, and his servant. So we're going to start right there. We're going to get into part 2 and we're going to be done. So I hope you all got your papers. Log back on for part 2. Peace.